Introduction to Grant Analyzer. What is Grant Analyzer? Foundations frequently use broad parameters in describing the types of funding they provide, and the best way to determine whether they might be interested in funding your organization is to look at what projects and organizations they have funded in the past. Grant Analyzer is a tool that you use to discover grants similar to those made for the type of project you want to implement. With Grant Analyzer, you can search through more than 7 million grants made by U.S. foundations, totaling over $428 billion. Using Grant Analyzer, you can discover who has received money, the amount given and date of the grant, where it was made and received, and which foundation provided the grant. In this tutorial, we will show you exactly how to make Grant Analyzer work for you and find foundations whose granting interests match your own fundraising needs. Tutorial Objectives. In this tutorial, we will show you how to find grants that have been given for the purposes that you specify, how to search by granting category, grant size, location, and many other ways in order to zero in on just the kind of grant you're seeking, how to identify foundations that may be unknown to your organization, but which may well entertain a request for funding for your project, how to take things a step further and discover funders of organizations similar to yours, how to search for grants that have been given internationally. After you have logged into Foundation Search, you'll be taken to the User Dashboard page. You can find a shortcut to Grant Analyzer here, under the Find Funders section. Just click on the link. Or you can access Grant Analyzer by going to the Find Funders tab and clicking on the Grant Analyzer link under Search Grants. On the Grant Analyzer page, there are options you can select to refine your search, and there are options you can select to display your search results. Under the search options, you can find three main types of filters. General filters related to the grant, including granting category, granting year, and grant size. Filters related to the foundation that gave the grant, including granting foundation name, EIN, state, county, and city. Specific filters related to the grant, including grant description, recipient name, recipient state, county, city, and text search. Under the display options, you can find three options by default: View, Results per Page, Sort. We'll review each of these sections in more detail. You can search by granting category, granting year, and grant size. Scroll to the criterion you would like to include in your search and click to select. If you want to select two or more criteria in one filter, hold down the Control key while selecting multiple criteria. This holds true for any filter that has multiple criteria to select. These search criteria help focus your search so that you can find grants that most closely match your own project requirements. You can also search using foundation-related information, such as granting foundation name, EIN, and location, state, county, and city. Sometimes you want to investigate whether a specific foundation you're already aware of has provided grants in the past. This is a good way to find out. To find the grants given by a specific foundation, type the name of the foundation into the field with words. To exclude grants from a specific foundation in a more general search, put the foundation name into the Without Words field. Notice that the Granting Foundation field is predictive. When you start typing in the foundation name, the database will present options for you to select from if you choose, saving you time, and perhaps presenting options you may not have considered. In Grant Analyzer, many of the type in search fields are predictive. You may also find the grants a foundation has made by inserting the Granting Foundation EIN number if you know it. Choose the state or states from which you want the grant to originate. Use Control-click to select more than one state. You can also exclude a state you're not interested in. You can go through the same process for granting county and granting city, including or excluding as you see fit. The majority of U.S. foundations add grant descriptions to their tax forms, documenting what the money was given for. These grant descriptions contain a wealth of information and can be searched using keywords entered into the grant description field. You can also use wildcards in the grant description field. Just add an asterisk to indicate the wildcard. This expands the search to include other words beginning or ending with your specified keyword. You can also exclude a term by entering it into the Without Words field. To find grants given to a specific recipient, you can type the name into the Recipient Name field. And you can use the With Words and Without Words fields to include or exclude names from your results. To find grants that have been given in your state, scroll to find your state and click to select. Use Control-click to select more than one state if you choose. If you want to narrow down your search even further, you can search by specific county or city as well. The grants that appear in your search results will be ones that have been given to the area you specify. For each of the state, county, and city search filters, you can include or exclude as you see fit. The text search field will widen a keyword search to include both the recipient name as well as the grant description. This is useful because not all tax returns include grant descriptions in their grant listings. As with many of the other search filters in Grant Analyzer, you can choose to include a keyword or exclude it from the search. Just use the With Words or Without Words fields when building your search. By default, all searches in Grant Analyzer will result in a list with 200 results per page, sorted by grant size. You can see this criteria at the top of the page. You can adjust these to suit your preferences, depending on what you would like to see in your search results. Under the View options, you can choose from List, Map, Chart, or Summary. Just click the drop-down selector and select the option you desire. If we keep it on List View, then under the Results options, you can choose to view as few as 25 results per page to as many as 500 per page. Again, just click the drop-down selector and select the option you want. And finally, under the Sort options, you can choose to sort your results list by any number of search filters, including grant size, granting year, granting category, granting state, granting city, granting foundation, recipient state, recipient city, or recipient name. Note that the Result and Sort options appear only when you select List View. We've reviewed all of the available filters that you can use in Grant Analyzer to build a search for grants. You can combine these filters in a multitude of ways to create as broad or as narrow a search as you like. Here's an example. Let's look for grants received in the state of Washington for hospitals. Select Granting Category of Health. Let's look only at recent grants, so I'll select multiple years by using Control-click. Scroll to the recipient state and select Washington. Type hospital in the text search field. Then click Search. The results list shows me the list of grants that match my specified criteria. I can also review the search criteria by clicking here. This list also shows me which foundations provided these grants. These may potentially be good prospects for me to contact for my own project. If my search generates too many or too few results, I can click Modify Search at the top of the results list and I'll be taken back to Grant Analyzer, where I can modify my search criteria. I can also save my search at any time. Once I have run my search, I can click Save to My Searches at the top of the results list. A small window will appear, listing my search criteria. Here, I can name my search something that makes sense to me so that I can find my search later and rerun it. You'll notice that I can do many other things with my search results. I can add to my Prospect Manager, export to Excel, or print my results. We'll review these options in more detail in a different video. We can take our research a step further once we've gotten our search results from Grant Analyzer. We can discover what an organization similar to our own has received in funding. In your results list, click on the recipient name that interests you, or appears to be an organization similar to your own. When you click the name, you'll be taken to a list of all the grants that the recipient has received from various foundations. You can look at these grants and decide for yourself whether it be useful to approach those foundations for your project. On the User Dashboard page, you will also notice Global Grant Analyzer. If you click on the link, you'll be taken to the Global Grant Analyzer page, which is very similar to Grant Analyzer, which we've just reviewed. The search filters and display options are the same. The primary difference is that you now have granting country and recipient country. So you can discover what grants have been given internationally, from Afghanistan to Zimbabwe. Tutorial recap. In this tutorial, we have covered the filters contained in Grant Analyzer and how to apply them in a search, how to adjust the presentation of your search results, how to modify and save your searches, how to take things a step further and search a recipient's other grants to discover other foundation funding sources, how to search for international grants using Global Grant Analyzer.